they made the mistake for some years, and I want you to listen closely if you're making your kids do activities that they are not expressing interest in. They, for example, made me play sports because they had read in Parade magazine, which used to be in newspaper, the Sunday newspaper. It would be some garbagey entertainment stuff that everybody, so they'd have parenting advice in there. And the parenting advice in Parade magazine was that you have to have your kids play sports in order for them to learn how to why do people think their kids need to play sports? So they can communicate in groups or learn teamwork?
They learn teamwork and sportsmanship.
Okay. I've always said, like, have siblings. I have 6 kids. We live in a 1,900 square foot house. I'd have more kids than you can afford. And then your kids will not need to play sports because you will all be cramped into a very small house. They'll learn teamwork very quickly. They will learn sportsmanship very quickly. They have someone steal some of their toys. They'll learn how to use a baseball bat very quickly. Listen, they'll learn how to share and cooperate. You don't have to force your kids into sports. You just have more kids than you can afford and cram them all into a small house, and it'll work itself out. Now, I was an only child, but still, I mean, I went to school. I had to deal with kids every single day. Like, you don't think I learned teamwork and sportsmanship? So anyway, I hated sports. I hated it so much, but they made me play softball. So I would intentionally collapse during every game. I'm not kidding. We might have pictures of this somewhere. I would lie down on the field and I would not get up. And I would just be like, I can't get up. And they'd be like, so this is in the middle of a game. Like, we're in the middle of a game. Now, I wouldn't, because I knew that other kids on the team, their parents cared and they cared about the outcome of this game. I wouldn't do it if I wouldn't do it if I were playing shortstop. Okay. But when I was in the outfield, I was like, look, this is girls softball. None of these little girls are going to be hitting the ball back here. I think, and if they do, they're so weak. I mean, it'll be like, pop, hit the ball. I mean, I'll have a good 30 seconds to get up, dust myself off, and then field this ball. This is girls' sports. I mean, let's be real about what it is. And my parents were mortified. Again, keep in mind, my dad played college level football, and so did my grandfather. And actually so did my grandmother, and my mom, again, very sporty. So they were, it was just something else to see this kid lying down and refusing to get up in the middle of an active game. And then being recalcitrant about it. Now, I am actually still on my own side. I am on my child self's side. I'm like, great point, 9-year-old Jen. Honestly, I really see that. I think I agree with that decision. I think you made a great call there. So did it benefit me at all to be forced to play sports? No. I mean, literally, it did not help me at all. Now, depending on what you think of me in this podcast, I could be making a point counter to the point I'm trying to make, because if you hate me and would never want your child to turn out like I have turned out, then you might be like, I'm getting my kid in an extra sport. Like, they already played soccer. I will have them play cricket tomorrow. Like, that's in season. We'll get that done because we cannot have our kids turning out like Jen Fulwiler. Perhaps a better example is my own children are turning out well. And, we sort of forced a couple of our kids to play sports, and it didn't go well. It went about as well as it did with me. They didn't like it. They didn't show an affinity for it. My kids are analytical like I am in a certain way that makes following the rapidly moving rules of sports, that is not a natural thing for us. We tend to be deep thinkers. We tend to be overthinkers. And so, the idea of a ball is flying through the air and you have to make 7 different calculations at once, it takes us a while to get into that rule system. What I'm trying to tell you is that one of my children one time tackled a soccer ball and just threw themselves on top of it and wouldn't move. And the other kids were kicking them. And then my kid was crying because they were being kicked because they were on top of a ball and it's a soccer game. That is how it turns out when you force your kids into activities that they do not want to be in. I think, hang on, let me hit I'm interrupting myself, but it's for a good reason. Special sound effect. Here's the other thing is that when you are trying to control the outcome of your kids' personalities and your kids' lives, it exhausts you. You are tired because you know how it is when the vibe's just not there. The magic is just not there for this activity and for this sport. It's just not gelling. And so you're getting up at 7:00 in the morning on a Saturday and you're driving over to this sports facility and it's muddy and it's raining and you'd rather be asleep and whatever. It's one thing if your kid has shown an affinity for this sport, if your kid seems to be good at it, if they have potential to be good at it, or if they're terrible at it, but they really love it. They're gelling with the team, not the best player, but they're bringing the snacks and really motivating everyone. If any of that is going on, it's great. But if your kid is just kind of lukewarm about it, not showing a particular talent for this, not particularly loving it, and you're just making them do it, and then you have to be there and your spouse has to be there, I'm telling you, that will wear you down.